informational is also sharing information, again, that doesn't really give you an immediate impact to your business. So for example, I live very close to where you all work. You may see me send a tweet that says something along the lines of, I'm looking for Mitch Joel's 6 pixels of separation. Where should I go? You all may say, well, there's this fabulous little bookstore called Best of Books 2 doors down from us, right? It is like 2 doors down from you guys. They're fantastic. You should go in and talk to Mary. Okay. That does nothing to help your business, right? Unless maybe I go there and I see you for the first time. But what it does tell me, again, A, you're listening, and B, you're taking the time to help me. That's pretty incredible. And when it comes time for me to make those kinds of decisions, they're going to be who I go to based on the fact that they've shared information that they held with me, okay? So 60% of what you share on social networks should be those kinds of exchanges. 20% should be conversational. So these would be things that I would say would be off topic, not really so off topic as my Caesar salad and tomato soup, but maybe the things that contribute to the idea of being knowable and likable. So the old adage, that we do business with those that we know, like, and trust hasn't changed even if the technology has. So we want to get to know you a little bit. We want to know that you're not just a business. We want to know that you're not just a robot. So when Zane was born, if you're comfortable with that, and not everybody is, and that's a personal decision, you need to make sure what you feel comfortable with sharing about your personal life. There you go. That's something that would be conversational. Maybe you don't feel comfortable sharing information like that, but you do feel comfortable promoting other entities in your community. Excuse me. So you may leave here today and you may say, not about the salad and the soup, but oh my goodness, the service at Lawtonville's, again, continues to be amazing, right? That's something that's conversational. It shows that you're human. It shows that you're promoting other people, but there's a benefit to that. Now, you guys are savvy, so as we talked about, everything we're doing is to generate business for you guys. So even when we're being conversational, we can still be helping ourselves a little bit. So here's an example. For those of you who are on Facebook, how many of you are actively using tagging, the tagging feature? Do you want to explain it?
Is this like where you mean like checked in? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Or tagging?
Tagging. Like
people or places in your posts or pictures.
Exactly.
Yeah. I guess so. Basically, when you write about something, if you use certain words or you have pictures of people, you can link them to other friends that you have. So their names appear in your pictures and it shows up on their page as well as yours.
Exactly. So from a business perspective, let's think about this. This is a screenshot. I serve on the board of Keep Oklahoma Beautiful. So if we are, as a business, if we are promoting, wanting to get people to know about the Keep Oklahoma Beautiful organization, well, every time that I post a comment or every time that I post a status update and I use that handy little @ symbol, it pulls up this little window like this, right? And so it shows me other people that I'm connected to that I can tag. Here's the wonderful thing about that. Every time that I do that, so here would be an example about Lawtonville's. And I don't even know if Lawtonville's is on Facebook. Does anyone?
I don't think so.
We may need to tell Michael
I've
before we leave. Because here's what I would do. I would go home and I would say, had a great time working with the team at Lester Loving and Davies, and I would tag you. And then I would say, thanks to Lawtonville's, tagging Lawtonville's for a great day. Well, here's what would happen. For me and my business, I may not be associated to everybody that you all are. And I may not be associated with everybody that Lawtonville's is. That message with my business name or my picture, that shows up on their wall. So instantaneously, people who I have not been connected with are exposed to my message in a way that they never would before. So tagging is an incredibly useful way of being conversational, but also getting a little something out of it as well, okay?
And you said you do that how?
When you're typing, you type the
at symbol.
like a at Gmail or something.
But you would just do at, and then if you were to do
You get a
E,
drop-down
you get a drop down list.
Okay.
Okay, here's what that looks like. This is my husband. 20% of what you should do should be essentially self-promotional. Now, as I said, there is no way to better turn off your audience than to give yourself one of these, right? I mean, people don't like it. They don't like to have that constant bombardment of sales messages unless it's the Sunday newspaper and they're clipping their coupons. But we do need to promote ourselves a little bit. This is what it looks like when you tag somebody. A few weeks ago, my husband has a heating and air company. The city of Edmond has this big rebate program. So what he did is he tagged his business. So now this is showing up on his business page. He tagged the city of Edmond, so it's showing up on the city of Edmond page, and he's sharing a link. So without being blatantly promotional that says, hey guys, guess what? We're one of the only few providers who are officially licensed to do this, they're able to accomplish pretty much the same thing by congratulating the city of Edmond on their efforts, okay? So we can be promotional, but we can do it in a way that doesn't feel so, slimy.
So do you suggest using Facebook, using your personal account in addition to your business account to create the buzz?
Yes, and here's why. And there's a lot of schools of thoughts on this. And Facebook is constantly evolving. So for those of you who use it for business and who have a business page, you've seen that in the past 2 weeks, it has changed considerably. Well, the good news is for the first time in a long time, Facebook has done something that actually really benefits us as business owners. What has happened now with the new Facebook pages is we can interchange between ourselves and the business, which is fantastic. The reason that you do want to have some kind of a personal presence in addition to your business presence is not only to filter people through to your business. Maybe you're active in the chamber and people know your face, but they don't know that you're affiliated with this business. They have that kind of connection, and then you can suggest your business to them. So there's that piece of it. It should not be done exclusively. The reason why is because of Facebook's privacy settings. For us as individuals, those are not publicly indexable. And so what we'll talk about in a second and how social media impacts our search results, we really want to make sure that we have those open. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we've talked about listening. We've talked about being human. I disclosed earlier that I was a huge nerd.
Yes, you did. I'm sorry, you're looking at me.
I did. I am.
I was looking at the slide.
I'm going to encourage you all to be huge nerds. Be geeky, okay? There is a tremendous, tremendous benefit in social media if you pay attention to your numbers. We were having a conversation earlier about people who spend all of this money on these amazing, ad buys. And then they spend the money and they have no idea if it worked, right? With social media, if you are paying attention to your numbers and you're paying attention to your analytics and you have those defined for your business, excuse me, so you understand I need to increase my traffic by this percent or my unique visitors by this percent, or I want to make sure that people are actually paying attention to the information that I'm sharing and that I have the right voice. Be geeky, pay attention to those numbers. If you are not a nerd, you don't like numbers, find somebody in your office, find somebody in your business who is, because this is how you're going to make social media effective for you.
Yeah, Scott.
I think you guys are pretty lucky.
Oh, trust me.
You know.
I'm just sitting here going, I'm gonna have to retire. I don't understand any of this. So vocabulary, I don't know.
Okay, the next piece is to talk about planning. Okay, think about this. In your business, let's say that you've hired a PR firm who's helping you with your PR initiatives. Or maybe you have a sales team, a dedicated sales team who are commission-based only. And then you have the people who are actually acting as your customer service people. Well, if the person who's dealing with your customer service are on the front lines and they hear that everybody is really having a difficult time with your product or service, if there's not like a communication plan where everybody is looped into that, then you've got a really big problem. Or if you don't have in place a plan that says, well, how am I going to handle if people are talking negatively about my business? Or how am I going to handle if somebody hijacks my page and is brandjacking me and promoting things that I'm not even affiliated with? How am I going to handle all of that? It's really important as you delve into the world of social media to make sure that you have a plan. You can remember in the past year, I use Southwest as an airline, or Southwest Airlines as an example all of the time because I'm fascinated by what they do. So in the past year, they had the whole issue, remember, with the poor gentleman who was a little bit too large for the seat. And what did he do? He took to Twitter, and he was an influencer, and it was a big problem. Or you had the poor little girl who, do you remember this, last summer when they didn't like the way that she was dressed, and that bombarded into a whole scenario. Southwest Airlines has been on the cutting edge of innovation when it comes to how to utilize social media. And it's because they have a plan. I've had the opportunity to hear their marketing department speak about this, and they truly have a if-then scenario for just about everything that you can imagine. For those that they don't have, they have kind of like a general idea. So regardless of our business, we have to have a plan. Next is to be shareable. When we talk about being shareable, that means creating the kinds of information that people want to be talking about. So I use these little screenshots as just as an example because you may not be thinking about this. I didn't ask when we first started, how many of you, if any, are blogging? Okay, great. Blogging is a great example of shareable content. What you have on Facebook, great example of shareable content. What you publish on Twitter is a great example of shareable content. The reason that this is important is because, again, at these little buttons right here, tweet, share, email, etc. We, as consumers, have the opportunity to vote every time we click our little mouse. Excuse me. Every time that we retweet something, every time that we say that we like something on Facebook, what happens is that information is then shared with our entire network. So that blog post that you unwillingly did, pardon? Occasionally, excuse me, is then shared to your entire network. Well, if I'm not connected with you and I'm not even in the market for your services, down the road when I am, because of the whole idea of trust that we talked about at the very beginning, I'm going to know that you are somebody who is an expert in this field because I've had the virtual recommendation of one of my friends clicking that stinking little like button, okay? It's really important to make sure that we're creating the kinds of content that's shareable. From a functional point of view, it's really important to make sure that that's integrated through your website as well. So for those of you who do have an active web presence, you want to make sure that your sites include those little buttons that say share this or add this, etc. And you also want to make sure that those are considered above the fold. So in other words, that you make it as easy as possible for the consumer to share that information. One important note about that, for any of you who have websites right now that do use the Facebook button, that has changed in probably about the past 2 weeks. So if you're not the person who manages your website, you should put in a call to your developer to get that changed. Okay, so why does all of this information matter?